We demonstrate how to use Excel to answer many of the questions that we solved earlier. We have a set of problems before us to demonstrate these Excel functions. So let us take the first problem, which is fairly simple. If we invest 10,000 today at 8% for 5 years, how much we get at the end of 5 years? We can standardize most of the variables required in an Excel template so that we can answer these questions very easily. The input required in most of the time value of applications can be standardized as present value, future value. In this case, we want to find out the future value. We know the present value. PMT or payment per period. This is applicable whenever we are going to make a regular investment or we are receiving a regular pension or any other payment. Rate, which is equal to interest rate. NPR is a payment period, and finally type. In many of the cases, we need to specify whether we are starting our investment at the beginning of the period or at the end of the period. So in Excel, the types takes the value of 1 if it is at the beginning. Beginning is equal to 1. End of the period is equal to 0. So our first question is a term deposit. We are investing 10,000 today, and future value is what we want to know. PMT or payment per period is not applicable. Therefore, we'll put 0 or just leave it blank. Rate is at 8%. NPR or a payment period is 5 years. Our investment is today and therefore it is equal to 1. Now we can find out what is the maturity value or a future value. You can invoke the Excel function by clicking this fx and pick up the function. FV is the function we want to have inside the function so that it guides you how to enter the values. The first is a rate, which is 8%. NPR is 5 years. PMT is 0. Present value is 10,000. It is better to mention cash outflows as a minus value and cash inflows as a plus value. Therefore, let us put minus 10,000. Type is at the beginning of the period, therefore is equal to 1. If we invest 10,000 today for 5-year period at 8%, the maturity value of the deposit is 14,693.28. Let us do some more problems. Our next problem is, if we invest 10,000 per year for next 30 years at 8%, how much we get at the end of 30 years? So let's try to enter. This is a recurring deposit. So present value is 0 because we are not going to make any lump sum today. Future value is what we need to know. Payment per period is at 10,000. Every period we are making 10,000. Rate continues to be 8%. The number of years is 30 years. And we are starting our recurring deposit today. Therefore, it is equal to 1. Now we need to find out what is the future value. Either you can invoke the function like what we did earlier. We can fill up all these numbers. But once you are familiar with this function, you don't need to go through this process. We can easily say future value is equal to rate is 8%, NPR is 30 years, PMT is at 10,000. This is also minus. Therefore, let us put minus 10,000. PV is 0 and type is equal to 1. So, an investment of 10,000 per year for next 30 years will give us 1,223,458.68, which is fairly a large amount. A small investment of 10,000 per year for next 30 years gets you 1.22 million rupees. So let's move to the next one. How much we need to save today to get 100,000 at the end of 10 years if the interest rate is 12%. Now we need to find out the present value. So this problem is present value problem. We don't know what is the present value. That is what we have to compute. Our future value is 100,000. This is what we want to achieve. Payment per period is 0 because we are not going to make the payment every period. Rate is given as 12% in this example. NPR is at 10 years. At the end of 10 years is what we have to find out. Let's put 10. Our investment is going to be today. Therefore, let's put 1. So let's invoke the function. The function is a present value and try to answer all the numbers here. Rate is 12%, NPR is at 10 years, and PMT is 0. Future value is 100,000, type is 1. So what it says that if we invest 32,197.32, it will get at 12% interest rate over a period of next 10 years. It matures as 100,000. Our next problem is a pension problem. What is the present value of the pension of 100,000 per year for the next 30 years at 10% interest rate? Suppose you are going to get a pension of 100,000 per year for the next 30 years. What is its present value if the interest rate is 10%? Our first pension is at the end of 1 year from now. That is, we are signing up the scheme today and we are going to receive our pension at the end of 1 year from now. So this is a pension problem. Let's try to put the number. Present value is what we want to know. Future value 0. Payment per period, how much we are going to get every period, is 100,000. Rate of interest is given as a 10%. Let's make this as a percentage. NPR is a 30 years, we are going to get the pension. Our pension starts at the end of the period, therefore it is equal to 0. The type is equal to 0. So now we need to find out what is the present value of this pension. Since we know how to handle these variables, we'll put the functions of present value, open the bracket. Rate is at 10%, NPR is at 30, PMT is at 100,000, FA is 0, and type is a 0. So its value is 942,691.45. Even though we receive 100,000 every year for next 10 years, next 30 years, its present value is 942,691.45 if the interest rate is 10%. Let's do one more problem, or rather two more problems, and learn two more Excel functions which are very useful in your day-to-day life. You are borrowing, let's say, 1 million from a bank for buying an apartment. You need to repay the loan over 240 monthly installments. The bank charges monthly interest of 1%. How much we need to pay every month to repay this loan of 1 million? So let's enter the data in our template and answer the question. So this is the loan installment value. This is what we have to find out. The present value of the loan is 1 million. Future value is 0 because we don't want to have any outstanding at the end of the period. Therefore it is 0. Payment per period is what we have to find out. PMT is the one which we have to find out. The rate of interest is given as a 1% per month. So let's put 1% per month. Number of period is stated as a 240 months. That means over 20-year period we want to wipe out this loan. Type is 0 because our first installment is going to be at the end of this month. Let's invoke a function. We need to find out the PMT value, that is a missing value in this template. Let's take PMT and insert the function. And let's put the numbers here. Rate is a 1%. NPR is 240 months. PV is 1 million. FV is 0. Type is 0. We got a value of 11,010.86. It means to repay this loan of 1 million over 240 months at 1% per month interest rate, we need to pay 11,010 rupee 0.86 paise. So the PMT function would be useful to answer this question. If you double click, you can see the function PMT and all the variables we can insert and then find out the value. One more function called rate function. Let's take this as an example. An Apple iPhone dealer says you can buy the latest iPhone for 80,000 rupees by paying cash today or by paying rupees 5,000 per month for next 18 months. The first installment starts today. You want to know what is the interest rate the dealer is charging on this loan of 80,000. So we can find out the interest rate by invoking a function called as a rate function. So we have to find out rate. The present value is 80,000 where this is the cost of the iPhone. 0 is the future value because we don't want to leave any outstanding loan at the end of the period. Payment per period is a 5,000. This is the amount we have to pay every period. Rate is a value which we have to find out. Payment period is says 18 months. So we need to start our payment today, therefore it is equal to 1. Now let us find out what is the rate. Let's invoke the function. The rate is a function, insert. NPR is a 18 months. PMT is 5,000, but that has to be in a negative where there is a cash outflow minus value. Present value is 80,000. Future value is a 0 and type is 1. So the interest rate is equal to 1.43%. Excel has several such useful function. You can see there are so many functions which are available. Many of them are related to financial function. You can explore these functions, and Excel also has help menu. You can also get examples or illustrations in these help menus.